get this money into our ledger. So now the way that this works is there are what we call accounting rules. And this is pretty cool. So the accounting rules are integrations with Apptivo's ledger application. Now, a prerequisite of this is going to be setting up your chart of accounts, getting to ensure that you have all of your proper expense accounts and everything in here. And then the accounting rule looks pretty similar to the workflow builder. Obviously some slight differences where you can put in like a standard template for the memo that should be posted onto each journal entry as we put it in there. Then you'll see you can post it in based on when the expense was approved or based on when it was most recently created when it was created into the system or when it was the actual date of the purchase. So you'll choose how you want to choose which financial period to put that money into. Then you can do criteria. So just like you can have different workflow rules, you can have different accounting rules. So depending on which department it had come from, you might want to account it differently, which line of business, which product that was sold, anything like that. You also could do things like sometimes from the financial side, you'll want to move money around before approval. Like let's say you want to allocate expenses to a specific account immediately when they are recorded into the system. Then you want to move that money to another account upon approval of the expenses and indicating that they are all completely finalized. So in this case, you could have post-expense on creation, post-expense on approval. You could say post-sales department expenses on creation, post-sales department. You can have as many different accounting rules as you want here. It is going to be pretty common for businesses just to have a single accounting rule for each application though. So don't be afraid if you only think you need one. So you write those rules. In this case, what you'll see my criteria is when it's moved to the approved status. So the way the workflow builder works is you'll see old and new. So what I'm saying is it's an expense report got updated. So I'm going to check if the old status was anything but approved and the new status is moved to approved, meaning I just approved this, then I want this accounting rule to execute. So this is where you can come in and you can just say whether it was created, or you could even create other custom fields. So there's some organizations who will go through the full approval, but they don't want to post to ledger until the finance team has done their review. So they might add another drop-down menu that says like finance team review complete. And when they change that field, that's when our accounting rule runs. So then down at the bottom, you'll be able to choose what types of journal that you want to post, whether you want to consolidate them. And then the key option here is you can do a single journal or single set of journal entries for the entire expense report, meaning I don't individualize the expenses, or I create one journal entry for each expense line. So the key thing here is some organizations will categorize the entire report and put it into one financial account based on that. In this case, you could say each expense has a different expense category and therefore should go into a different financial account. So that's the difference here. We'll keep it simple. We'll just do for the entire report. And then you select which money is going to get moved around. So in this example, we don't have any taxes or anything like that. So we're just taking the entire expense amount. You could go have other custom formulas and such. So you could printing out like an amount of tax, and then maybe you need to move that tax into a tax account and then move the remainder, the subtotal, into a different account. So in that scenario, what you'll do is you'll have multiple journal entries for a single expense. So all you're going to do right there is you come and you grab the other financial figure, and then you can see I can move each financial figure to a different ledger account. In this case, I'm just going to do a single journal entry. And then what I'll do is I can debit from an account. You just pick which account. So in this case, I'm like hard coding, or I'm just picking the high level expenses account. So you do have the full list. This will just integrate with everything that's visible inside of the ledger automatically. But then you do have the option, this is more advanced, of picking an attribute, meaning you can have your expense accounts visible. So you're basically selecting the account when you're creating the expense. And then that account contains, that category contains the ledger account. So basically what you're saying is, if I have a taxi and my user categorizes it as a taxi, my accounting rule will automatically go move that money into the taxi expense account. So it's definitely more advanced, takes a lot more configuration, but just gives you an idea of what you can do there. And then of course the credit account, same exact thing there, is you either just select an account or you select an attribute. Okay, so the end result of that is it gets posted on Outward. Really the last piece is if you don't